I've had some time to sit and reflect on what's happening currently in the climate of our world beyond the pandemic. I want you guys to hear me out. I won't probably take more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes of your time. But I believe with all my heart that we have an opportunity to learn right now. I've been praying, meditating, reflecting on how many more bodies have to be killed in the streets, how many more social media posts we have to see of murders in the Black community for us to leave our bed of apathy and begin to act again. When I was a kid, my mother had me at every Black history program you could imagine. My mother was proud to be Black. My father, a preacher, proud to be Black. And we did ministry, them being pastors. We had tons of Black History Month programs. And during that time, I learned a lot about Martin Luther King. And he's personally one of my favorite influencers. And I loved his approach, obviously, very nonviolent, he was just such an orator, and he could make people not just sympathize, but empathize. And he would move white people, politicians, from their seats of apathy, from their beds of apathy, from their comfort into action. I don't think what we need right now is a social media post with an MLK quote on it. And we don't need pastors or leaders saying that they're praying or how sorry they are in the midst of this situation. I believe that God can give us strategies and solutions to these problems. And the thing I've been praying personally is, Lord, show me what we can do at a political level that can change policies, that can change laws, that would cause there to be equality in sentencing and in justice overall. Because from Tamir Rice, from Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, Ahmaud Arbery, we're not seeing the justice. And when we experience justice, we experience it in such a skewed way. It's not even a direct reflection of what we say our values are as a country, that we want liberty and justice for all. And so what I personally want to suggest is, if you're a leader, if you're a pastor, if you're white, if you're my friend, if you know me, let's all begin to educate ourselves in law and in government and research how we can together submit bills and policy changes. Let's become aware of our politicians. Let's make race a part of the question in political debates. And let's begin to see again people unite. When I think of Martin Luther King, the thing I think of the most is that when people heard him, obviously they sympathized, but they empathized, and they didn't just say, I heard you on the radio and I loved your speech. They began to march with him. The president himself began to speak very openly about the need for equality and began to use his privilege to actually produce change. And that's what I want you to do. If you have privilege, if you're aware that you have privilege, if you're aware that your influence can create empathy in others who may not be able to hear it in the same way as if myself, a Black person, shared it, that you would be like Paul and to the Jew become as a Jew, that you would find some way to create a line of understanding that you can use alongside your power to make a difference. So to every pastor, to every leader, again, let's pray for solution. Let's not just post on social media. To my Black people, to my brothers, to my sisters, let's not let the legacy of Martin Luther King die, in the sense that just because we do share a social media post, that does not mean that we're really making or moving the needle. And that if we go on Instagram or we go on any platform like I'm even doing right now, that the limit of our support ends at social media. But that we move it beyond that and we begin to research deeply what we can do. That we don't just get angry at white people, that we actually make room for conversation and find people that can empathize with us. And we actually use that to create connection that can produce change. I believe that what we need in this season right now that we're in is another onslaught against the enemy, that is racism. That we need another proverbial million-man march that changes the 13th Amendment, that changes laws, that changes policies, that shows our government that we're ready for the next level of our freedom. That even though we have a level of freedom now, that we are well aware that we are still not fully free. So that's my heart. I may have went over 3 minutes. I'm pretty sure I did. But I'm praying for the Arbery family. I pray you're doing the same thing. But with all my heart, I genuinely pray that we would begin to research, if you're a Christian especially, what we can do from a practical sense to actually bring change. Not just from prayer, not just from the spiritual level, but what can we do naturally as a people that would bring change. And I also hope that you know that though I may have been blunt and I meant what I said, that my goal is not to diminish the power or the influence of social media. It is to help us move beyond that, because we shared Tamir Rice, we shared Eric Garner, we shared Trayvon Martin, and justice can't stop at a sentencing because it keeps happening. We need to start shifting policies and laws in our states and at large in our government overall in the United States of America. So I love y'all. That's all I got for you.